the origin of the tangent line problem, consider some function f, and say for example if we take 2 points, I can do better with this curve. Just consider this point to be x and f of x. This point over here, let's say that we move over delta x units. So on the x-axis, this is x plus delta x. And over here, this is f of x plus delta x. If you look at the change in x with respect to the change in y, this would be the change in x, and this is the change in y. The ratio of the change of y with respect to the change in x is said to be the slope. If you calculate the slope between these 2 points, that's defined as the slope of the secant. The slope of the secant is said to be the slope of a curve evaluated at 2 points, where 2 points intersect across a curve. A line that crosses a curve at 2 points is said to be a secant line. So we study that and we extract. So this line in blue is called a secant line. With the goal of being able to find the slope at 1 point in reference to a curve, and at that point we call the tangent. The tangent is said to be a line that crosses or touches a curve at 1 point. The secant line is a line that crosses a curve at 2 points. So our goal is to be able to minimize delta x such that we end up only focusing on the slope here. And we'll give this a name and we'll call it f prime of x. And that will be the slope of the secant. So f prime of x is the slope of the tangent. Guess I could make that ENT a little bit better. I guess writing was never my virtue. Okay. So here, the slope of the secant, okay, we call the slope m. You recall y sub 2 minus y sub 1 all over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. So if we call this guy x sub 1, if we call this term x sub 2, call this y sub 1, and call this y sub 2. So what we end up with is f of x plus delta x minus f of x is the change in y all over x plus delta x minus x. So the slope of the secant, I am writing better. It's just this cock-a-cuckoo pen and this computer screen just does not like left-handed people from the deep country south. Anyway, the slope of the secant comes out to be f of x plus, what is that? F of x plus delta x minus f of x all over delta x. The x minus x cancels out downstairs. Now if we minimize delta x, here letting delta x go to 0, that is the difference of the x values is minimized. And to do that, by letting delta x go to 0, we call that the limit. Take the limit of this secant. The limit is delta x goes to 0 of f of x plus delta x minus f of x divided by delta x. This now becomes the slope of the tangent. If delta x is minimized, then this whole nature travels from here all the way around to the curve back to x, and we take the slope only at that point. And so this is equal to, we call that f prime of x, or obviously that's delta y over delta x, and we say that this is dy, a differential over dx. The dx, the dy are infinitesimally small differences. Just a little change in x. Does it affect a little change in y? The ratio of that is said to be the derivative. And so this derivative, my friends, is said to be the slope of the tangent.